next point will replace everything. As I already said, I personally don't believe that LEDs will ever replace big HMIs. That's not possible because mainly of the heat management. I know this unit now has 170 watts power consumption. It can replace a 1K tungsten, and we already have noticeable heat management here. So now 170 watts, if we want to replace, let's say 1800 watt HMI, which we have here, the M18, yeah? Because LEDs, they are not more efficient than HMI. It's about the same at the moment, yeah? Same efficiency than HMI would mean that we need an LED fixture with 1800 watts, 10 times more than we have here. So how would the heatsink look? Not possible. Not possible, maybe this size in, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. But as you might know, on film location shooting, we are also using 4K HMI, 6K, 12K, 18K. Yeah, this will stay HMI for a very, very long time. So there's no chance for LED. I made this table to compare light technologies. We don't have to go into detail and look at every cell here. That's not necessary. Just have a look at the right column, LED. As we see, LEDs have so many advantages. Yeah, the dimming, absolutely perfect dimming without any color shift. Also very rugged technology, but don't produce any heat. Even the price. I mean, LEDs are not extremely cheap, but if you think about the long lifetime that you get from an LED, it's not expensive technology. But there's one downside with the LED, and it's not a really powerful technologies. LED are nice, tiny light sources, but to get a really powerful light source, you would need many LEDs, and you might have recognized if you put many LEDs side by side, you might have a powerful light source, but you also will have multiple shadows. Yeah, so that's usually also what we don't do. If you, for example, have a look at this unit, our car store. Here we are. We always try to create one light surface so that you also have only one shadow, not multiple LED light sources which create multiple shadows, one light source. And as I said, the other problem is the heat management. So there are still a lot room for HMI, even tungsten, big tungsten sources will be necessary for our applications, yeah, for a long time. Now, this point, strange colors, LED and color problems, or how produce LED colors. This is a little bit complicated, honestly, and I want to start with have a look at the spectrum. We see here a typical spectrum of the tungsten source, so it's a very continuous spectrum, no gaps. Compared to this LED, red, green and blue LED spectrums combined, you can even also achieve 3200 Kelvin with this light source. Yeah, it's just a mixture, like every television works, mix red, green and blue, and you get any color that you want. So you will get the same color as the tungsten source has, but you have these big gaps, especially here in the yellow part. So both of these units, they have the same color temperature, as I just told you, the same color temperature. If you compare the light of them, you won't see any difference, but as we are using lights to illuminate something, for us it's important how the objects that we illuminated, or actors or whatever we illuminate, how they look. And this is completely different. So we have a different light spectrum, and we also get a different result. These are some tests that I made a couple of years ago. This is the result from the tungsten source, and here the result from these red, green, and blue LED source. I didn't change anything with the camera or the lens or whatever. All stayed the same. I just changed the light source. And as you see, you get completely different results. Not in the white point. The white is approximately the same. But of course, it's the same because I have the same color temperature, so the white is okay. But what is with the colors? Especially here, the paprika, is it English? Paprika? Yeah, I mean, it's it's completely different now. And also skin color, there are extremely big differences. Very, very bad color quality on this side. And you might know about the CRI, 99, very good value for tungsten. And this here had 20 only. So in this case, the CRI seems to fit the color problems that we see. But we have to say CRI is, very often it's not a proper method to say something about color quality, especially for LEDs. CRI is, it has too many downsides and it's just a too simple technology. And it's not the right choice, and I will try to explain you what the problems are with CRI. I mean, CRI is now used everywhere. This is the method that is known worldwide. It's the only, seems to me, the only accepted method by the whole industry. So that's the only thing that we can use. Even ARRI, we give CRI for all our values, but it's not because we believe in CRI. This is because it's the only way that really is accepted by the market. What can we do? Given workshops, maybe. So, how is CRI, how is it working? CRI is based on 8 test colors. So the CRI uses 8 test colors, and it are really only these 8 colors. There are 6 more colors defined by CRI, but they are not used officially. So if you see a CRI value, it's only based on these 8 values, and it's always the same way as it works. Next slide. We have a reference light source. We light a test color, and then we get a result. The result is what light is reflected from this color. Yeah? And this is simple multiplication. You can use this spectrum of the light source, multiply it with the test color, and that's the result. And the same is then done, for example, with an LED source. Light source, multiplied by test color, result. And as you see, completely different result. So, and this is done with all these 8 test colors. And there's one problem with CRI that you already might have noticed. These are, they are all not saturated colors. They are all pastel-like colors, and if you look at these 5 colors, they're all kind of bluish, purple, rose. Yes, this is a little bit less, a little bit few colors to judge color quality. And there are more problems with the CRI. Not that we only have 8 test colors. The next problem is how this all is calculated. If we have these 2 reflected spectrums now, we can calculate where the color is in our color space. Color space here, saturated colors, black body curve. So our calculation now says us, okay, our test color is here, which could be, for example, skin tone. Yeah, it looks like skin tone roundabout. And now we have a color shift from here to here. So this is a certain distance that we have between these. And we can, of course, calculate the system, because this is a coordinate system, and say, okay, this distance means that the color is, you can give it a value, and then you can calculate the whole CRI. The problem with this is, I mean, we have not only this test color, as I showed, we have different test colors. So, and all these test colors will show a certain movement in here. They will have a distance between what we would expect and what we really get. So, and if this all would work, then it would mean if we have a movement from here to here, it should be the same problem for our eyes, or the same difference in colors for our eyes, than if we would have this movement here or here. So this only would work, this calculation, if this would all be the same. Doesn't matter where we are in the color space, a movement of this distance will calculate in the same color difference. The problem is that it's not like this, it's completely different because this is a very old color space. No, it's not written here, but it's here, 1938, 31, so it's more than 80 years old. And humans see colors completely different. We don't see big differences here in the green part. So if it's like this green or this green, doesn't matter for us. For us, it's the same green. Here, in the blue area, we see slight difference, slight movements we see as a big difference. We can judge if this is a different color than this. So this is the completely wrong color space for doing any calculations for CRI. When they developed the CRI, they knew about this. They at least knew that this is not working with this color space, so they developed a new color space which looked like this from 1964. So this is the color space that is used for calculating CRI. It's much better than this one, for sure. Yeah? We have now a much bigger blue part. Human eyes are very sensitive to blue colors. And we have a smaller green part. So the circles are much more equal than here. But they are still not, there are still differences, I would say. Yeah? Still different circles, and it's far from being perfect. But that's the color space that is used for CRI worldwide. Even if it's like 60 years old, it's still the method that we use worldwide. And these are the two main problems that we have with the CRI. It's only based on 8 unsaturated colors, and it uses a far from perfect and non-uniform color space. And it is absolutely no problem to produce LEDs nowadays that the manufacturers know about these problems with the CRI. So they can produce the LEDs in a way that they have a good CRI, but they don't have a really good color quality. It's very, very easy to trick this system. Because lighting professionals they always knew about these problems, there were many, many tries to install a new color method. I just named a few, and I don't want to go into detail here. These were all different tries to have a new color quality judging method, and all of these didn't work. Because like sometimes, you know, there's a big lobby, a big industry behind, and they were afraid, oh, with a new method, our good lights won't look as good as they should or as they looked before. So this is why it never worked to really install a new method. There's one except to this is the CQS, color quality scale. This is widely accepted, at least in the US. If you see LED fixtures from the US market, you might sometimes find a CQS. This is an accepted color method. It's much, much better than CRI. Yeah, more test colors based on a more modern color space. But all of these methods, CRI and even the CQS, they have one big, big problem. And this, oh, I'm sorry, I should have written this in English. I translate. All of these are not made for cameras. All of these are made for the human eye. And this is a problem because till now we only looked, okay, there's a light source, there's a test color, and we get a certain light back. But that's only half the way. We also have not only a light source, we also have something who, I'm looking for the word, a sensor, or if it's not a sensor, it's a human eye. This, for example, is how our human eye sees colors. So, in the end, what we really see as humans is not this. We don't see this. We see that. This is what the human eye sees if we see a tungsten light source. And now if we compare the sensitivity of the human eye to the sensitivity of a camera, it's completely different. A camera sees light completely different compared to the human eye. So all these methods that I showed you, and CRI and CQS, doesn't matter. All of these are not made for what is important for us. Because for us, it's not important how we see the light. For us, it's important what the camera sees. Luckily, there's one method that is really made for cameras, and this is the so-called TLC Eye, Television Lighting Consistency Index. So we have the television already inside. This is the only method that is based not on the human eye. It is based on a norm camera. Yeah, norm camera. Works with 24 test colors, and it's not only a method that says this is the color quality, just gives you value. This method even says something about what you could do in the color grading to get it right. So this is good for people who work in the post-pro, who deal with color grading. This method gives them some hints what colors might be wrong and what they should tweak to get it right. If we compare results from CRI and TLC Eye, these are all different kind of light technologies fixtures that were measured. And here we have CRI value, and here we have what these fixtures, what their results in TLC Eye were. So if there was no difference between TLC Eye method and CRI, then we would have lined up all these lighting fixtures in just this straight line. As we see, it's not like this, not at all. Mainly, the CRI is better than the TLC Eye value. So not for all, but for the majority of these light sources, the CRI was like more forgiving. Yeah, you got a better value than it really, at least for a camera, would be. There are some exceptions to this, as we see here. We have even a light source, which is quite funny, which has a negative CRI. It's possible to have a light source with a negative CRI, and you would think, whoa, this is like the worst light source I've ever seen. But this light source with TLC Eye, it wasn't great, but it was still usable. Yeah? So there's an extremely big difference between these two methods, and as we are here and talking about television and film productions, I would strongly recommend you use this method. And this is not that you need a special tool for this or expensive gear. The only thing you need is just the spectrum of the light source. And nowadays, we even have the chance. This is a nice tool. Just want to start it. Here we are. So you can, you can test it by yourself. It's a small handheld spectrometer. So with this tool, it's a company that produces this UPR tech. It's not a company that has to deal anything with ARRI, so they get my recommendation for free. You can measure any light source with these tools. I think now there are even more companies who produce things like this. It's, it's not like you get it not for free. It's around 2,000 euros. But if you have a tool like this, you will get the spectrum of any light source, and then there's software, it's just free in the internet, where you can calculate the TLC Eye if you want to do so. And because now that we know that cameras see light different, and there are some problems with older color methods. Sometimes, yesterday there was one guest here, and he told, yeah, it's if I measure a LED source with my color temperature meter, I get strange results. Yes, for sure he will get. This is because a color temperature meter it's not as accurate as a spectrometer. A spectrometer looks at every single wavelength. A color temperature meter has only 3 sensors for color. It's like our human eye or like a camera also sees. And because the LEDs have a little bit strange color spectrum, you will get the wrong results on your color temperature meter. And even if you compare color temperature meters, if you have like a Minolta, a Gossen, whatever, Kenko, they will give you different results because it depends on what chips they have inside. They have only 3 chips. This unit I gave you has maybe 100, 200 color chips inside, and so this is the only way that it works. TLC Eye is a good method to judge light sources if you work with camera, but of course there's also one thing I have to say. TLC Eye is based on a norm camera, but it's not like that all cameras see colors in the same way. These are different spectral response curves from cameras, and you see there are differences. So the TLC Eye gives you a good hint. It gives you, I think, a good feeling. If the TLC Eye, if the source is really bad, I wouldn't use it. If the TLC Eye has a good value, then it's still not a bad decision to just do tests by yourself. For example, I did tests together with RTL in Luxembourg a couple of weeks ago, also with Array units, and yeah, just test it by yourself. Just, yeah, you can take flowers or fruits, or you have a color test chart. It's the best what you can do, and then use a tungsten source, record it, then put away the tungsten source, use LED light, second record, and compare by yourself. That's the best what you can do. Yeah. It's always, when at Array, we do a lot of tests with our units, and we use different cameras because you cannot trust only in values. Even if it's TLC Eye, still, it's always good to do own tests. All right, besides all these color spectrum problems, there's one more thing to know about LEDs. Now we only had to look at these like colored LEDs, blue, green, and red. And as I told, you can mix any color with it, but the color quality is very bad. So what is usually used, if we are not talking about like some effect lights for the theater or for a rock show, we use white LEDs. White LEDs for if we want to light people or like for usual fixtures, and all of our units have white LEDs inside. A white LED is nothing more than a blue LED with phosphor on it. There's a certain amount of phosphor on this blue LED, and this phosphor transfers some of the blue light to a yellowish light. And so mixed blue and yellow, you get white. If you have a bigger amount of phosphor, you have a warm white LED, which is like then can be used as a replacement for tungsten. And with less phosphor, you get a daylight white LED. All of these white LEDs, you see it down here, TLC Eye 70 or 60, they are, yes, it's much better than this for sure. Yeah, much better color quality, but still not what we really want for television or movie lighting. So there's also a chance, like you see here, to use more than one phosphor. So just use the blue LED and put more than one phosphor on the LED, so you can raise the TLC Eye to 90. Well, this is a pretty good value. You could work with this. The problem with it is that you lose efficiency. Like always, if you want to have a better color quality, then you lose efficiency. But this is a way you get really good colors from a single white LED.